Begin workout.
Stage.org.
It's Food Fridays on the Leonard Lopate Show. James Beard Award winner and top chef judge Hugh Acheson offers seasonal recipes for your farmers market produce. Plus, New York Times food editor Sam Sifton issues a barbecue cooking challenge for the weekend. That's today at noon, the Leonard Lopate Show, here on WNYC.
You guys ready? Let's do it. Clap your hands. The alphabet, begging ABCs, they can help you move, so get up and dance with me. B is like a ball. C is like a fish station and do the Krabby Crawl. D, duck down.
As we usher in our conversation about preschool, once inside of preschool, should 4-year-olds be learning math and reading, like that song kind of indicates they are, or mostly learning to play contentedly and play well with others? And what happens to New York City 4-year-olds who don't get the preschool of their choice, or any that were even on their list? We'll talk about both these things now with New York City Deputy Mayor Richard Bury, Mayor de Blasio's right-hand man for implementation of the administration's central initiative to date, Universal Full-Day Public Pre-K. Deputy Mayor, welcome back to WNYC.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
So the numbers I'm seeing are that 82% of families get one of their first 3 choices for pre-K. 49,000 out of the 70,000 got their first choice, but 10,000 kids don't get any on their list. Is that about right?
That's about right. We had 69,393 4-year-olds apply for pre-kindergarten this year, which is just an extraordinary number. It shows that there is real demand for full-day, high-quality pre-kindergarten. So those families have a chance to apply. They can list up to 12 choices on their list, and it's absolutely right. 82% received one of their top 3 choices. That's comparable to about what happens in kindergarten. And so we're really proud of that. We're really excited that families were able to find a choice that worked for them.
So talk for a minute to any family who may be listening that's disappointed with the offer they received this week.
Sure, of course, and that is a little comfort, of course, to families who didn't get one of their top choices. So there were about 15% of families who did not receive an offer at any of the sites they've chosen. For those families, we've made them an offer at a location that was as close to them as we could find. So a few things. Those families don't have to choose those programs. That's important. They'll have another chance. We have another enrollment period beginning on June 22nd through July 10th. And in that round, there'll be thousands of additional seats that we developed since the time of the first enrollment period. So they have many more choices. Our pre-K outreach team is, as of right now, as we speak, reaching out to all those families individually with phone calls, explaining to them what their options are, talking to them about what else might work for them. Maybe they entered centers near their home, but maybe a center near their work would work. And so our commitment is to work very closely with those families to find something that worked for them. And one thing I think is important for all families to remember, whatever offer you received, by June 19th, it's very important that you go to the center and pre-register, because that's the only way to ensure that your seat is kept on.
June 19th.
June
Otherwise,
19th.
you give up your seat.
You risk giving up your seat. And so anybody who applied, and this goes for those families who, that's 15% of families who do not get one of their choices, they're on the waiting list automatically for any school that they selected. It's true for anyone. And so any family, even if you're not sure about the selection, register by June 19th, control your seat. You're still on the other waiting list. You can still, on June 22nd, go back in and look at new choices and find something that works for you.
Listeners, questions for Deputy Mayor Richard Bury, point man for Mayor de Blasio on the Universal Full-Day Public Preschool Program, 212-433-WNYC, 433-9692. How do they do it? Is it a computer algorithm? Is it human beings sifting through these applications when, there are more kids, more families who want their kids in the same school than there are seats?
Yeah, it's an algorithm. It's very similar to what we use for high school choice, where again, where families choose up to 12 choices. And so there's a set of preferences that are built in. So a preference based on your school district, preference based on siblings. So there are a number of preferences that go into that to try to make sure that families, where it makes sense, can get a center that understandably they should have a priority for. But basically, it's an algorithm based on a set of preferences.
And I've seen that more than 1,700 seats have been added just in recent days. So you're still bringing new preschool locations online?
Yeah, and in fact, there will be, by the time of June 22nd, when the second enrollment period begins, there'll be many more than those seats available. So there'll be several thousand new seats available. And so we're continuing to develop new spaces. And we want to make sure that we do the best job we can in providing families with a joyous place for their children to go to school.
So, big picture for a minute. Year 2 of the preschool program, getting ready to get launched with this application process. What has year 1 wrought?
Well, I think year 1 has wrought really wonderful things. And so the one thing that I don't do enough, but I'm so happy when I get to do it, is to go visit these pre-K classrooms. So I get a few benefits from this job. First of all, I walk around and I see our pre-K for all banners and rolling pre-K everywhere I go. And it's exciting when you talk to people, when you go to centers, when you talk to families. Every day I get an email summary from our outreach team, which always leads with the story of the day, an engagement one of our outreach workers had with some parent or some grandparent. What you see out there are children in classrooms having a blast, playing with their friends, doing science experiments, cooking, pretending to be firemen. It is wonderful. And I get to talk to parents who are so overjoyed that they have this experience for their children, one that many of them never thought they'd be able to have because, like so much else in the city, childcare and pre-kindergarten privately can be so expensive.
You have 70,000 seats. How many kids out there did not have pre-K available to them were it not for the public program? And how many more